What's up, everybody? It's your boy Rebel here, and for today's episode, Call of Duty Modern Warfare multiplayer maps ranked. Let's get into it. And please let that be the last hit.
On your feet, soldier! We are leaving!
So what's up, everybody? How are we all doing today? Hope we're all having a wonderful day today. So for today's episode, I know it's been a while, but I've been a little preoccupied with other things going on. I don't exactly get paid for this. So for today's episode, we're going to be ranking all of the maps in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. Not all of them, just the 6v6 and the 10v10 maps. And I will be ranking them on something like a tier list. Except I didn't want to use tiermaker.com because they wanted a ridiculous amount of authority over my Twitter account, including things like posting for me and liking and retweeting tweets for me and reporting people for me and access to all of my personal information. So I was like, no. And I didn't make an account there, so I couldn't make a tier list. So I'm just going to be doing it the old-fashioned way and putting a number on the screen, and that number will be out of 19 because there are only 19 6v6 and 10v10 maps in the game as of right now. I will make a point to point out when the maps are a base map, one of the 9 maps of 6v6 and 10v10 that shipped with the game, and if not, it's just going to be on the normal ranking that I'm going to give it between 19 and 1. I am going to be ranking them from worst to not worst. And the tier list is pretty simple. There's 5 tiers. F, D. It's similar to the F, D, C, B, A, except for this one is going to be F, D, C minus, C, C plus. Because let's face it, none of these maps deserve anything better than a C plus. And by the way, if at any point during this video you crack a smile, you like the video, even just a couple seconds of it, please feel free to just smash that like button and subscribe too, because I'm always doing this sort of stuff. And yeah, it's what have you got to lose? Alright, so it's gonna go something like this. As far as the rankings go, we have F, which is a failure. It shouldn't even be in a Call of Duty game. So few Call of Duty maps in Call of Duty history have even gotten an F ranking. Sometimes they're not even needed when you make a list, except for when a map just really angers you and you're like, it shouldn't have been in here. It shouldn't have gone through QA testing or play testing or whatever. Then you got the D maps, to where it's like, you had this amount of things to do and you did one thing right. You only did one thing right, but you kind of showed that you kind of understood the basic gist, the basic premise of what's supposed to be done. But everything besides that was a complete and utter failure, and that's a D. Then we have C, which would normally be average. I would pick any other map in the map vote that I don't particularly hate more than a C. I'd pick any other map, because the most of them end up being A, B, and C pluses. But since we don't have Bs or As, it's going to be C minus, which is like you should have just been a D, or you're a C with an even worse flaw than the rest of the season. Then a C plus, which is like you were almost a B, but you nope. Up. Alright, so coming in at number 19, and also number 9 in the base maps, the worst map in the game as far as 6v6 and 10v10 is concerned. I bet you think I'm going to say Piccadilly, but it's not Piccadilly, it's Euphrates Bridge. And you might say it's pronounced Euphrates. I don't care. This map sucks. This is one of the worst maps I've ever seen in a Call of Duty game. Now, if this was in a Battlefield game, it would almost make a little bit of sense. But being that it's in a Call of Duty game, it basically makes no sense whatsoever. You have the bridge, a completely overpowered power spot. You have the bridge, which is an overpowered power position. You have the rest of the areas, which are just wide open, running around with like a chicken with your head cut off. It's all about teamwork and progression. It's not an arcadey twitch shooter map. It's the antithesis of what Call of Duty is. This is a Battlefield map. And oh, I almost forgot to say this. Basically, every map in this game is taking a hard hit because the game's broken spawns, and they basically make all of the maps feel bad because the spawns are so bad. The spawns on Euphrates Bridge are also really bad. Even though it's such a huge map, you're like, there's only 4 more players. I'm barely running into anybody in the middle of the map. I can't get spawn trapped. And then you keep spawning in, moving a foot, and getting sniped by the building right in front of you. And it's ridiculous. This map sucks. Everything about it sucks. I utterly hate it. And if you think Piccadilly's the worst map in the game, you must have taken the 10v10 playlist off of the quick play filter in multiplayer. Because if you've played Euphrates Bridge in the past ever, you'd agree that it deserves its ranking as the very worst map in all of Call of Duty multiplayer ever. basically. And coming in at number 18, we have the remake of Shipment, which is, I mean, you might be saying to yourself, but I can level up all the guns and do all these challenges. Yeah, that's great. I have Damascus, and I ain't touching Obsidian. So why would I even bother playing on Shipment now? Like, I don't have any challenges to do that would require me to go play on Shipment. So why would I do that? And because of that fact that I would never want to play on this map since I'm not doing challenges means it must be a terrible map. And even in general in COD World War II, I didn't really care for this map too much, but I would have given it a C, C minus, because it's so small and it serves a purpose. But in here, they've ruined it. The slants of the things are gone. The slanted shipping containers are now straight to where you can see from one side to the other. You're either spawning in somebody's line of sight or they're spawning in your line of sight. It's so hectic. It's so bad. It's so bad. It is so bad that it's the second worst map in the game. Coming in at number 17, we have the 8th worst base map in the game. Here you go, it's Piccadilly. Oh my god, Piccadilly is so bad, but let's not forget Euphrates Bridge is a little bit worse. Piccadilly, though, it's like they just designed the campaign mission, took that map and was like, oh, let's just release this. Someone's like, should we tweak it, maybe make some lanes? And that person got fired, and now we have Piccadilly as it is, and it's completely terrible. The entire center of the place is open. Someone got too angsty with the copy paste and the big red buses. Basically, the only part of the map that I can actually enjoy is the part where you come out of the building to under the other awning with the pillars. That's about it. That's about the only interesting engagement spot where it comes down to gun skill. Everything else just is terribly designed, and it deserves the F that it gets. That's crazy. And coming in at number 16, we have the 7th worst map in the game, which is gonna be St. Petrograd. And this one still gets an F. We're still in the Fs. We haven't gone out of the F. St. Petrograd gets an F. It is a failure at what Call of Duty maps are supposed to be, because let's face it, there's absolutely no flow to the map. I mean, in Hardpoint, it's okay because you kind of have some areas to where it's like, yeah, when you direct traffic here, it can kind of make sense, but when you're not in a game mode like that, everyone just goes up to the second story windows and just kind of camps at some spot. This is a terrible map. I don't know who is playing and testing these maps. This map gets an F. I kind of just want to get it out of my head because just thinking about it is making me kind of mad because St. Petrograd is terrible. And coming in at number 15, we have Rust, which is a remake from I Don't Care. And this map is terrible. It gets an F. They didn't even have to change it for it to still get an F. It's kind of like Shipment, but there's absolutely 3 places to find cover when you're playing. Otherwise, you could just be shot from every single angle, and it's really annoying, and it takes no skill. It's good for leveling up. If you want to level up and do challenges, I would actually recommend Rust and Shoot House specifically, not Shipment, because Shipment is so bad. But Rust is also really bad, but I'm not ranking these as like, what's going to help me do challenges? I'm ranking it like, what would I enjoy playing? And it's not Rust. And coming in at number 14, we have the 6th worst map in the game, which is the 10v10 map Grozny Raid. Oh my god, this map sucks. This map is so bad for every single game mode I play in, and the worst thing is when I'm just playing Hardpoint and Domination, this map will pop up along with Arklov Peak because both of them for some reason count as Hardpoint 6v6 maps, which means I have to play on them 6v6 in Hardpoint. Strangely enough, that's when the maps tend to do their best. It turns out they're not good 10v10 maps, and they're not even really good 6v6 maps, and Grozny Raid is not as good as Arklov Peak. Grozny Raid is just bad. The buildings, anytime I see a meme that's like crossing the road in Modern Warfare be like, I'm just picturing Grozny Raid because that's exactly what that map is, and it's incredibly terrible. And oh yeah, it gets an F, and that's the very last F. Those are all of the failures of the game, thank God. But let's not act like we're out of the woods yet, because no one in this class of maps even got a B+, keep in mind, based on my ranking system, which by the way is just my personal opinion. If I'm a offending you by any of these decisions, sorry. I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry your feelings are hurt. But I'm gonna continue talking these maps. And coming in at number 13, we have the 5th worst base map in the game, Arklov Peak. I bet you guessed that it wasn't too far away from Grozny Raid. And yes, Arklov Peak is terrible. Arklov Peak it barely passes. The thing about Arklov Peak is some of the micro areas are actually pretty good hardpoint locations, and sometimes it makes sense. The only thing is, half the time when I die and someone has the hardpoint, I have to run for like 30 to 45 seconds to even get close to the hard point, because it's like 180 meters away from me when I spawn in, which is stupid. The map is too big. It would have worked as a 6v6 if you just cut about half of the map off, but besides that, it has some decentness to it. It has this air of mediocrity that is heavily desired when compared to the utter failure of every single other map in this game. But yet somehow this map is not as bad as Grozny Raid. It ends up being decent, and it ends up just getting a D. Like damn, if you just would have shortened the map, it probably could have gotten like a C-, maybe. It's a 10v10 map. Like, why are there even 10v10? I don't even. This is incredibly grueling for me to have to think about all of these maps right now. Coming in at number 12, we have Crash from Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, and it's Crash. I never really liked Crash, even in Modern Warfare. I kind of thought it was a so-so map. It was kind of moderately mediocre. It was decently average. I really hate the 2-story, the 3-story. It's like a 3-story building. I hate that 3-story building. I really don't like the flow, how everything just kind of goes to the center, and there isn't really many counter lanes, I guess. Counter lanes? There aren't really many counter lanes, I guess, if that's the term we're going with. Crash doesn't really have many of them, and they all kind of just point you to the center. It's like a bunch of waterfalls leading into a pond. That's the only flow there is. Everything just pushes you to the center of the map. You know, when it comes to map flow, I like to think of it like you're putting a leaf, a big leaf like the size of your hand, and you're putting it in the river, and wherever the river goes is where the leaf goes. And if the river splits, that split is gonna have you going one way or the other way, but you're gonna go the way that the water's flowing with the flow of the map. Picture that. And Crash doesn't really have flow. Once you get to the middle, that's basically it, and you're just like, I guess I'll just sit here and camp now. That's basically every map in this game. It's ridiculous. And Crash, number 12 map, it gets a D. Now coming in at number 11, we have Backlot from Modern Warfare. I don't know. Yeah, this map is very bad. It's almost as bad as Crash, except Crash has that big 3-story building, and this map has that one building with the wall missing in the back of the map. Not the construction one, but the one that's closer to the gas station. That's pretty annoying, except it's really easy to flank people when they're in there, and then you wipe out like 2 or 3 dudes because their whole team's just camping in there like a bunch of bitch. And yeah, besides that, it's you know, they took out the basement in the construction site, but besides that, it's so wide open. There's no flow, there's no structure, there's no containment of anything, and it's just really randomized. None of the fights I ever get to on Backlot ever have to do with gun skill. It's all about who's staring at what empty location first before somebody runs into their line of sight, and it doesn't really make for interesting gunfights. And because of that, I think it gets a D. I think it succeeds in like 1 or 2 very small areas, being like the lead in from the construction site to that spawn point on that side, and the flanking ability of that one building. Besides that, the whole center of the map, almost everything, basically everything besides those 2 things on the map is terrible, and that's why it gets a D. And coming in at number 10, we have Anya Incursion. I was dreading getting to this one because this map is the epitome of when you have an idea and you do the idea and it ends up being bad. And what I mean by that is, I was like, they're making all these ground war maps. Why don't they shrink one and put one into 6v6? Oh, they did. It didn't work. It's pretty bad. Yeah. Surprisingly, Anya Incursion is actually a little bit better than Anya Palace, because Anya Palace has the E spawn area, which is just a big spawn trap waiting to happen, which basically always results in like the other team winning by like 99 points, 90 points, 75 points, because they just advance and capture all 5 spots and force everybody back into the spawn. This map is terrible. The whole center building is not well designed at all. It's not that it doesn't have flow or symmetry or open areas and enclosed areas. It has everything that could make a good area, but it doesn't. It's like someone had all of the tools, the best tools that they could use to do the task at hand, and they just did it wrong somehow. And you're like, no, you followed the checklist, but it's still not good. And that's Anya Incursion. I mean, it has the B area, the B flag. I mean, the B flag in Ground War, not the B flag in like the Anya Incursion. The pool house area, which I kind of like that area. I feel like that's a good area. And that's it. And that wraps up the D's. Okay, now we're getting into the C. The C minus. You passed, and it wasn't a pity pass. You actually passed, but you got a C minus. That's what we're getting into right now. And coming in at number 9, and getting back to the base maps of the game, at base map number 4, we have Hackney Yard. And I know a bunch of people out there are like, what? Why? How is this map number 9? Did I play it? Yeah, I played it. I played it a bunch, maybe too much, and that's why I'm getting this feeling. I mean, Hackney Yard, yes, it has the aesthetic of a good map. It has the locations of a good map. It's almost like Anya Incursion, where they added everything they needed to make it to work, but for some reason it just didn't work. The one thing about this map is every flow point, and that's what's surprising about it. That's why we're actually getting into the C maps now. This map actually has a symbionce of flow, but everything just flows you to a couple of power positions in the middle of the map, and then you stop flowing, and then you just sit there waiting and trying to camp and corner glitch and head glitch, ADS, wall mount, whatever. Like you have the 2-story building, and once you get there, you kind of stop because you can't keep going, or else you're going to be wide in the open while someone is clearly going to have the advantage of shooting at you. So you have to stay where you are, and that's not how Call of Duty maps should be. And that's the main flaw about this, is it has good locations. It's just everything's kind of divided by a wide open area or a really tight choke point that really just butchers the flow of the map. And coming in at number 8, we have the 3rd worst base map of the game, Azir Cave. And I know a bunch of you are like, oh, Azir Cave is so bad. I know. I watched 402 Thunder a lot too, and he really hates Azir Cave, but he plays only free-for-all exclusively. So that's not really an opinion that you can really take to heart, because he's playing a game mode that at its core doesn't even blend with the game he's playing. Sadly, don't know how he hasn't noticed that yet. But Azir Cave kind of works. It just has one, and the thing about Azir Cave is the changes that would make this better are actually fairly easy to make. Cutting out certain back spawn areas would be fairly easy, and then towards the center area, the center lane, where you have the area up that leads to the towel shop, and then the road down below, just make that wall really tall to where you can't see over the wall, and that would have taken care of one huge issue of it being so wide open. Then you'd have the cave. Yeah, you could add a little bit more cover in there, but that's just a couple boxes to make sure that you have somewhere to run to. Those changes would actually be fairly easy and would actually make Azir Cave a much better map. So the fact that they made a map that is just as bad as any other map in the game, but has the ability to easily be changed into a good map, I have to get it a little bit more credit for that, and that's why Azir Cave is coming in where it is, but it's still a C minus. So I mean, like, are you like, oh, that map's an F? C minus isn't too far off from an F. I mean, it's not like I gave it an A. And coming in at number 7, we have the 2nd best. I hate saying that word when I'm talking about Modern Warfare maps. We have the 2nd not worst base map in the game, Romanza. Now, at first, I didn't really like this map. This map has the aesthetic of maps that I don't like. And I don't know what it is about these style maps, but I never really like them. I never feel like the maps that share this style are never well designed, and this map isn't really an exception to that. The one thing about this map that I will say is a big difference from like Azir Cave and Hackney Yard, let's say Hackney Yard. Romanza actually has flow that can take you from one side of the map to the other fairly easily, and it's actually fairly easy to traverse the map, and it's almost intuitive to keep running. However, there are some out of the way locations, power positions if you will, where you can camp and stare at open areas that are containing the flow of somebody else, and you can sit up there and camp. The good thing is though, if you are ever running around those areas on Romanza, you can tend to get back into cover without dying. You just get tagged a little and you're out of the way, you hide, you re-heal, and then you can engage in that gunfight. But you don't die from just running out in the open on Romanza, because the flow tends to to carry you enough, and there is enough cover to kind of contain you in that flow, keep you going, keep you traversing the map. It is just the fact that basically every power position is just a counter to a flow spot. You want the maps to flow, and that's why it's like this is the second best base map in the game, because it actually has a little bit of flow. But you shouldn't be punished for using the flow of the map, and that's why it still would get a C-. We're getting to some weird natural lighting right now. Well, that wraps up the C minuses. Now we're on to the C maps. And coming in at number 6, we have Shoot House, which I'm regretting putting this high on the list because I really don't think it deserves to be this high on the list. I think this is a terribly designed map. However, it's the right size. It's the right size to where it actually makes sense. You don't really catch the badness. You don't catch the pure awful failure of spawn points that is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, but you do a little bit. It's playable. I don't really have anything to compare this to, so it's just kind of getting a C because I actually kind of can enjoy playing on this map. But don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by your ability to enjoy a map. It doesn't make it a good map. It doesn't make it a well-designed map, and I have a whole video breaking down why Shoot House is such a terrible map. And it has to do with all of the choke points. The fact that every single open area is pretty much divided by a really tight choke point, so once you just aim at the choke point, anyone that runs through the choke point is dead and you've won the gunfight, and it takes absolutely no skill. You're starting to be like, I don't do that. You know the area with the cars, the area with the pillar by the cars, and you hide there, and when people come out from the shantytown area, you just shoot it with a shotgun really fast? Yeah, this map takes no skill. It's all choke points, and it's boring, and it's just amusing because it's one of the quickest maps to get you to combat, and that's basically it. That's basically why it gets a C, because the only thing they did right was making the map a small enough size. Jesus, this is grim. I feel like I'm kicking a dead animal around here. Coming in at number 5, we have Vacant. Vacant was actually a pretty decent map. I'd probably give it a B, B- in Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. And in this one, it's coming in at number 5. But keep in mind, they did add a bunch of doors, and even though it's number 5, we're still only on C. We haven't even gotten out of C, and we've gone through 14 maps. Most of them were F's and D's, and then the C minuses, and now we're at Vacant. This is not... This map actually kind of works though. It's really close quarters. There's not really any long lines of sight, so it's pretty fast, and as long as you're good and fast and twitchy enough, then you'll have fun on this map. And I tend to have a little bit of fun on this map. Sometimes I go against Sweats, who are as good as I am, but normally when I get this map, it's after I've been doing bad, so then I do really, really, really good, and I don't think it's fair, but I'm not gonna complain when I go like 50-4. Why would I? And that's why I have good gameplay on Vacant half the time, because it's really easy for me to get good gameplay because it's so close quarters and hectic, and it's like Shoot House, but it actually makes sense. It's hallways, so you don't have choke points because the whole map is a choke point. Problem solved. Okay, time to change the lighting again to the 8th time. Okay, and we're on the last of the light that I have coming in naturally, so we gotta hurry up and finish this up. Coming in at number 4, in the top ranked, the best base map that released with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 is Gunrunner, and it's still just a C. This is the best map that released with the game, and me, who's played Call of Duty for, like, since it came out, is saying that the best map in the game is a C, which is bad. That's not good. That's not good. It's not good. You might be like, I really like that map too. I'm still giving it a C. I still think it's bad. I still think it's a bad designed map, and it could be easily fixed if you were to just take out the big spawn points in the back of the map that have no purpose being there. You have a spawn point, you have a big building, both of which are hard points, and then you have the A and the C, the A and the C flag. What kind of bullshit is that? Like, seriously, you have a spawn point, a big building, and then the C spawn, and then the big wide open area to the B flag, and it's like, it takes you 45 seconds to get to the B flag from the spawn. How are you supposed to play domination like that? Doesn't make any sense. I was watching the professional league because they added the team names of the city, Chicago Huntsmen, and the Dallas Empire. I have no idea. And I have a little bit of an idea. And even watching them play on Gunrunner, I'm like, man, this map is bad. They don't look like they're understanding it too much. No one does. It has flow and it keeps you going. I hate the area with the bathroom. That area is really badly designed. The bathroom and the stairs and the the bathroom stall that people just hide in like little cowards. I hate it. But everything else flows actually pretty good. And besides the big wide open area with the greenery that goes down the one side of the map, which probably could have been cut down or had more in front of it to where it's not just an area for people to hide in and shoot literally across the entire area of the map. Oh my god, it gets a C. It gets a C. And that's one thing I don't know if I've noticed that this game does that doesn't seem to make any sense, is that normally if you have like the A vertical and the C vertical, you can never see through to one wall to the other. It's not really how the maps in Call of Duty have ever worked. Yet a lot of these maps share that flaw, and that's one of Gunrunner's flaw. When you're at the train area, you can literally see from one side of the map to the other. When you're on the other area by the minecarts, you can see from one wall of the map to the other, and it doesn't make any sense. And because of that, I couldn't give it anything higher than a C, not even a C+, because it has too many flaws. It's bad. It's a bad map. It's a bad map. And that actually wraps up C's. Oh my god, this has been one hell of a ride, and we're finally on the C+, and we are also on the top 3 maps in the game as of currently. Keep in mind, Hard Hat hasn't come out yet. But anyways, coming in at number 3, we have Russian named Sawmill. I forgot the name. I didn't write it down, but it was the Sawmill. I remember that much. This map is actually pretty good. It has a lot of flow. There's only like 3 areas that I have an issue with, and that's the big burnt down building. I don't like the windows at the top staring at the center of the map. I actually don't like the second story in general. I don't like how you can get onto the awning of the building at that one spot that kind of looks at the burning building. I don't like that. I don't like the other 2-story building with the 2 windows looking down at the rock area. I don't like that either. Besides that, everything else in Sawmill is surprisingly really well designed. It has good flow. It might be a little bit too wide open, but we're comparing it with a bunch of dog crap here, so correct me if I'm wrong. It feels pretty good. It's pretty enjoyable. It works pretty well. I don't see any issue with Sawmill. I actually kind of enjoy it, and it makes me feel like, okay, if Infinity Ward just fires everybody that designed Euphrates Bridge, Piccadilly, St. Petrograd, Grozny Raid, Arkloff Peak, Anya Palace, Hackney Yard, Azir Cave, and maybe Romanza, and just kept the person that designed Sawmill, I'd have a little bit of hope in the maps that would be coming out in the next Infinity Ward game. But seeing as they'll probably keep the same development team, yeah, this seems like an offshoot. This seems just like a coincidence that they were able to design a map that actually worked well. Same thing kind of goes with Candor Hideout, coming in at number 2. And keep in mind, these top 3 are basically interchangeable. These are just the least worst maps of the game. The top 3 least worst maps in the game. I'm not even going to call them the best maps of the game, because that would be giving them too much credit. Candor Hideout works pretty well. I really do like the second story building in the middle. I think that is really fun. All of the engagements I've had there, and even in the bottom area, is really good. I don't really care for the big wide open street, but I like the shop area when they're like, someone in the shop. I like that area. I think that area works pretty good. It's just that big wide open field on the side of the map is really dumb. I don't know what they were thinking there. I feel like they had a couple ideas and someone was just like, screw it, let's just leave it an open field. And they're just like, yeah, they already hate the game anyway, let's just do that. And that's what they did, and that's exactly what it feels like happened. And if that's not what happened, I'd be utterly shocked. But besides that, the big second story building in the middle of the map is actually pretty fun, and this map just has some fun engagements. I tend to enjoy most of the matches that I have on this map, which is saying something because I don't really enjoy this game that much. And here's the big shocker. I know this is a big 50-50 one, but coming in at number 1, even though I already said they're interchangeable, so I mean, you can't really get too mad at me here. Atlas Superstore. I know this map is so terrible. Yes, but get this, I only played Domination in Hardpoint, and I almost only ever play this map in Hardpoint, and when I play this map on Hardpoint, it's actually really fun because it makes people move around. If you're playing anything besides Hardpoint, I'd say don't, and just play Hardpoint, because it tends to make people move around. And if you hate camping and shotgun camping in the corner, this is a great game mode, and it actually makes Atlas Superstore a really fun map to play on. No one's ever hiding in the second story building. At first, I didn't even know there was an outside of the store that you could go to, which is really dumb. I mean, even the number 1 map has the big flaw that all of the maps in this game have. They're about 3 times too big. You can literally cut off a third of the map, and it would probably end up being too big still. But the whole outside area, it doesn't make any sense. The second story window that looks down, that doesn't make any sense. Once you get up there, you're just gonna sit up there. It's stupid. Every map in this game has terrible design. It doesn't make any sense, and that's why nothing got above a C+. No B's, no A's, because none of the maps in this game deserved it. They're all garbage. In fact, I probably just could have gotten rid of the C's and just had all of the maps be F and D's, and that probably still would have made sense, because let's face it, these maps are terrible. I don't know who designed them, and you may like these maps. Hey, if you like them, that's no insults. I'm not saying you have bad taste in maps, but if you like these maps, congratulations, you like Battlefield. Go play Battlefield. That game will deliver what you want, even better than this game can, because that's not what this game should be giving you anyway. It shouldn't be giving you realism and strategy. It should be giving you a fast-paced arcade Twitch shooter. And these maps aren't that. These are strategic maps. These are maps with a bunch of camping and Rainbow Six Siege Battlefield-y goodness, and these aren't what I want. And so take it as a bias. Take it as a bias from someone who loves Call of Duty, but really only likes Treyarch and Sledgehammer designed maps. I mean, I guess you could also look at it like, I just don't like Infinity Ward maps, but no, it's not Infinity Ward. It's got to be me. I have a flaw to where I can't recognize good maps or something like that. And that's gonna wrap this one up. I've been rambling long enough about how much I hate all the maps in this game, and I found a really fun way to do it, except I've lost all my light. The video keeps freezing on me. It's real choppy. I don't know what's going on. Smash that like button, hit that sub button, gently click that notification bell, all of that other wonderful good stuff. And that's gonna wrap this one up. Let me know down below what you think about the maps in this game. Do you like all the maps in this game? Do you think my rankings were too harsh? Would you have given anything a B or an A? Would you honestly have given any of these maps a B or an A rating? And please give me a little bit of an explanation as to why you would do that, because I am extremely curious. And yeah, that's basically that's gonna wrap this one up. Thanks for watching, and until next time.